When we think of films that depict World War II, we think of films like The Longest Day or Saving Private Ryan. Both are well-crafted classics that depict heroism. But what if I were to tell you one of the greatest World War II films is one you've never heard of? Come and See is a 1985 Belarusian anti-war film, directed by Elem Klimov and starring Aleksei, Kravchenko. The screenplay was written by Elem Klimov and Alice Adamovich, which is based on the 1978 book I Am From the Fiery Village, of which Adamovich was a co-author. The plot focuses on the Nazi German occupation of Belarus, and the events are witnessed by a young Belarusian partisan teenager named Flora. And through Flora's eyes, we see the Nazi atrocities and human suffering that was inflicted upon the Eastern European villages. The film mixes hyper-realism with surrealism, as well as psychological, political, and apocalyptic themes. The film was shot in chronological order over a period of 9 months. The film is shot with naturalistic colors, widescreen, and lots of Steadicam. The film is full of extreme close-ups of faces, and it does not flinch from details of burnt flesh and bloodied corpses. The extreme close-ups of actors staring into the camera is a reoccurring motif, and the guns were often loaded with live ammunition as opposed to blanks. Aleksei Kravchenko even mentioned in interviews that bullets sometimes passed just 4 inches above his head. Filming could not begin for 8 years because the State Committee for Cinematography would not accept the screenplay, considering it too realistic. The film's title is derived from Chapter 6 of the Apocalypse of John, where the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th verse is written as an invitation to look upon the destruction caused by the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Chapters 6, verses 7 and 8 have been cited as being particularly relevant to the film. From beginning to end, Come and See had my complete attention. There was not one point where I looked away. So much of the film forces the viewer to witness the horrific atrocities. Just like Flora, we're powerless to everything that's happening to him and everyone around him. And we watch in horror as the Nazis take glee in burning alive an entire village, while we and Flora are forced to watch. And although this film isn't categorized as a horror film, I found it to be one of the most horrific films I've seen in recent memory. But I also feel it's one of the most important films ever made, and one of the greatest films ever made. And I do want to emphasize that Come and See is truly a cinematic experience, and is one of the few films that truly highlights the horror of war from the viewpoint of a victim. Come and See is a deeply unsettling, upsetting, and disturbing film that stuck with me long after the credits rolled. And I plan to pick up the Criterion collection that comes out at the end of June. So with all that said, Come and See gets an instant classic. This film is not for the faint of heart. It's a very upsetting film, but I also feel that it's a very important film, and is so earnest with its portrayal from the viewpoint of a victim. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you guys in the next video.